In just 30 days, less than the time most people waste waiting for their credit to heal on its own, you can start removing negative accounts that are dragging your score down by 50, 80, even 100 points, all from one dispute process, and all from using the credit bureau's own investigation window to your advantage. The crazy part is that almost nobody knows how to use this process correctly, and the people who do know about it are quietly cleaning up their credit reports while everybody else out here is stuck getting denied over old collections and late payments. Today, I'm breaking down the 30-day credit dispute strategy from the top to the bottom. How to use it as a regular person with zero legal background. How to use the 30-day investigation window to challenge multiple negative accounts without wasting months. How to target collections, charge-offs, and late payments using the exact reporting rules the credit bureaus are supposed to follow. And the documentation strategy that most people completely skip. That last one is the exact reason why some people get a 12-point increase, while others walk away with 40, 60, even 100 points from the very same process. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to position yourself to get the most out of this credit repair strategy. So, let's get into it. The credit reporting system has been around for decades, and it was originally built to help lenders evaluate risk using information from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Now, the moment that most people hear that, they assume that if something negative is on their report, they just have to sit there and wait 7 years. And that assumption is exactly what keeps people stuck. Because here's the truth. Regular consumers can challenge inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable negative accounts with zero legal background. No attorney required, and no special industry connection required. Here's exactly how it works. The Fair Credit Reporting Act gives you the right to dispute information on your credit report if you believe it is inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. So, when you submit a dispute, the credit bureau has to investigate. They have to review the account, contact the furnisher, and verify that what is being reported is accurate. And that's it. That's the process. From there, you need to identify the negative items that are actually hurting your score and build a clean dispute around them. That one move now unlocks everything. Now, there is one thing that you need to know before you start. Checking your own credit reports does not create a hard inquiry. Your reports can be reviewed without impacting your score at all, just to see what's being reported. However, the bureaus are going to look at the details. If you have mixed personal information, old addresses, duplicate accounts, or reporting inconsistencies, you may want to clean that up before filing disputes. And one more thing. When you pull your reports, I recommend pulling all 3 bureaus at the same time. Specifically, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. We will talk about why that matters just in a minute. Now that you know how to get in the door, here's where it gets really interesting. Because once you file a dispute, the credit bureaus give you a window that most people do not know how to use. If you know how to use it, you can challenge multiple negative accounts without racking up a bunch of wasted time. So, here's how it works. The credit bureaus generally have 30 days to investigate your dispute. Not 90 days. Not 6 months. Just 30 days in most cases. And here's why it matters. When you dispute a negative account, that 30-day window becomes your opportunity to force a verification of what is being reported. That means that within that 30-day window, you can challenge a collection account, a charge-off, or even a late payment using the same investigation cycle. No extra waiting between every single move. So, instead of taking 3 separate months to go after 3 different problems on your report, you use one timeline, then work that single window to attack everything that needs to be fixed in one shot. So, think about what it looks like in practice. You dispute a collection account. You get that investigation started. Now you're in the 30-day window. So you turn around and challenge a charge-off that's reporting the wrong balance. Then you dispute a late payment that is inaccurate or incomplete. That is potentially 3 major negative items being challenged from one focus strategy and one investigation cycle across your credit report. Now, not everybody is going to get massive deletions on the first round. I will cover what your profile needs to look like to maximize the results in just a moment. But the point is that the structure is there, the opportunity is real, and most people are just walking right past it. Now, before we get into how to position your credit profile for the highest score improvement, I need to show you the actual negative items, because the accounts hurting your report are where the real damage is happening right now. And there's one feature about credit reporting that almost nobody pays attention to. Collections, charge-offs, and late payments all have to be reported accurately, completely, and consistently. They currently show up as some of the most damaging items on a consumer credit report. Collections, charge-offs, late payments. Every single one of them can suppress your score for years, and there are no points for just letting them sit there. Now here is the part that separates this strategy from the way most people try to fix their credit. As of the time I'm recording this, most people are still disputing the wrong way. They send vague letters, they argue emotionally, and they never force the bureaus to deal with the actual reporting problem. Now let me explain why that documentation piece is such a big deal. Most people file a dispute with no evidence, no organisation, and no understanding of what they are actually challenging. The second that happens, there is no real pressure, there is no clear argument, and there is no reason for that item to come off. At that point, the bureau can just say the account was verified and move on. But when you challenge inaccurate reporting with specific errors, supporting documents, and a clean paper trail, you shift the pressure back to them. Now here's how to think about what it actually means to you. If you have a collection account reporting the wrong balance, the wrong date, or incomplete information, you dispute it. If you have a charge-off that is being reported inconsistently across bureaus, you challenge it. If you have a late payment that should not be there or cannot be properly verified, you go after it directly. This is credit repair and score recovery disguised as a simple dispute process. Now, one of the most important things before you start is that not every negative item comes off just because you sent a letter. So, if you are dealing with accurate, verified reporting, the process can be tougher. This strategy is only for people who are targeting negative items that are inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable. For the 2 main categories, which are collections and charge-offs, the core differences come down to the errors in reporting. Collections often have balance issues, date issues, ownership issues, or duplicate reporting. Charge-offs usually come down to inconsistent balances, updating errors, or incomplete reporting history. After the dispute period, the real power comes from what gets corrected, deleted, or forced into a new review. If keeping long-term score growth matters to you, cleaning up the negative reporting is the safer play. Now, here's where this strategy goes from good to genuinely elite, because disputes are just the starting point. What you stack on top of them during that same repair process is where the real results start to add up. This strategy has 2 follow-up moves that work perfectly alongside the initial dispute. The first one is a direct dispute with the furnisher. This is where you go straight to the creditor or collection agency that is reporting the account. And here's why I prefer this over just waiting on the bureaus. You're forcing the source of the reporting to verify what they are claiming, not just the bureau. If you have collections, charge-offs, or inaccurate account details, this is the move to target. The second is a CFPB complaint. This one works best when a bureau or furnisher comes back with a weak response, a vague verification, or ignores the actual issue you raised. You can use it to escalate the paper trail and put more pressure on the reporting side. And because you already started that 30-day investigation window with the first dispute, the follow-up does not come out of nowhere. Now, on top of those two moves, here's one more thing worth knowing. If you clean up your personal information, remove outdated addresses, and make sure your reports are consistent before the disputes go out, you are basically making it harder for negative accounts to stay attached to your file. Now, I'm not here to hype up numbers that most people are not going to hit overnight. So, let me be straight with you about what your profile actually needs to look like to get the best results from this strategy. Two people with the same credit score can file disputes and walk away with completely different outcomes. One gets a small update, and the other gets major deletions. And the difference is not luck. It comes down to one thing that almost nobody talks about. This process is not magic. So let me be clear about that. For the best results, you need to be targeting accounts that actually contain reporting issues. If you're dealing with outdated collections, duplicate accounts, wrong balances, wrong dates, or unverifiable information, you're in a stronger position. Your profile also needs to stabilize. That means no brand new collections, no fresh missed payments, and your revolving utilization should be under 30%. But the real sweet spot is around 10%. You also want your identification and support documents ready. So have your proof of identity, proof of address, and any account records ready. Now here's the piece that separates people who get a tiny score bump from the people who get major movement. Documentation strategy. The bureaus care about what is in the file, not just what you say on the phone. When you organize your disputes, keep copies, track dates, and support your claims with records, you're building internal data that the bureaus and furnishers can see, even though nobody else talks about it. That internal data, your letters, your dispute history, your supporting documents, and how consistent your case is, can carry just as much weight as the negative account itself, sometimes even more. Consumers who report the biggest score improvements almost always are the ones who let that first dispute cycle finish, review the response, and then escalate intelligently. So, they dispute the account, they document everything, then they let the process play out. Now, if your credit is not quite where you want it to be right now, say you're sitting in the 620s to 650 range, that does not mean that you cannot fix it. It just means that you need to clean up the file today, document everything properly, and build a strategy while you work on the rest of your profile. But here's what I did not tell you at the start of this video. Everything that I just showed you is basically useless if your credit report still has negative marks dragging your score down and you never address them correctly. A 620 with collections and charge-offs and a 720 with a clean file are two completely different profiles. The difference between those two is night and day. Most people who are trying to fix their credit are doing it the slow way, waiting, disputing, one item at a time, hoping something sticks. I have a tool called Credit Rehab Pro that specifically fixes that. It is the same system that I use with my own clients, and it is designed to do the heavy lifting for you, so you can stop guessing and start repairing your credit with a profile that actually gets results. Click on this video right here if you want to see exactly how it works.